In this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board Podcast, James and I, we're going to share our thoughts on all of the rumors circulating around the 2025 NBA Draft. Are the San Antonio Spurs and Philadelphia 76ers really going to make a move? Find out. Big shout out to each and every person that has made the Locked On NBA Big Board Podcast your first listen of the day. I'm your host, Rafael Barlowe, along with my co-host, my younger brother, James. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. And if you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please subscribe, like, share, comment, and click the bell so you can be notified every time we drop an episode. I think we're about 12 days away from the 2025 NBA Draft. James and I will be there. There's a lot of rumors circulating about this draft. Before I get into that, I have to apologize. We recorded this episode yesterday, right in the middle of whatever they had going on with Google Cloud. I'm talking right in the middle. I couldn't even end the episode. The episode, it is about 30 minutes. By the time they had the Google Cloud or whatever fixed on StreamYard, it was like 2 hours and 47 minutes of recording time. I went to end the recording and it didn't save. So we are re-recording this. And sometimes it's just hard to remake a classic. I thought yesterday's episode was a phenomenal episode. And now we got to try to redo it. I tried to go live yesterday, and even going live, it just ended. It just felt like somebody just unplugged my computer. And even then, I haven't even been able to edit that and post that. So with that being said, let's start off with the big rumor that the Philadelphia 76ers and the San Antonio Spurs are talking. Now, I'm going to just read out what was written. Sources: the 76ers have engaged with the Spurs about potentially moving up to number 2 pick. For now, the Sixers have zeroed in on 4 NBA draft prospects with the number 3 pick, including a private workout last week with VJ Edgecombe and Ace Bailey visiting Philadelphia next week. Now, engaged doesn't mean they're both, working to hammer out a deal. Engaged with the Spurs. The wording is so careful. The Philadelphia 76ers have engaged with the Spurs. It's kind of like, I'm guessing if I go to the Ferrari dealership and I have a conversation about a Ferrari, does that mean I've engaged with them about a deal?
I'm not single, but if I were single and I got a girl's phone number and I talked to her, did I engage with her about a relationship?
Yeah, you were recruiting. So with that being said, I think the wording is careful. I personally don't think that they're gonna hammer out a deal. However, let's just play around here. Does it make sense for these two teams to work out a deal? And I actually think it does. I like Dylan Harper in Philly more than I like him in San Antonio. What are your thoughts on that?
I 100% agree. And, you look at what Indiana's doing right now. You look at what Oklahoma City's doing right now, and you say 2 dynamic ball handlers. They don't necessarily have to be pure point guards, right? And, Tyrese Halliburton is a pure point guard, but I guess more so in the case of Oklahoma City, Shea's not a pure point guard. You don't need to be a pure point guard. Jalen Williams is definitely not a pure point guard, but he can run the offense, initiate the offense, operate as a point forward. If you're the Sixers and you say, you know what, Tyrese Maxey is not a pure point guard, but we need another bigger ball handler, why not go with Dylan Harper? Especially with, Paul George's best years, being behind him. And there's also rumors that they're going to try to unload that contract. Good luck with that. But I like it for Dylan Harper. I like it for the 76ers. And I even like it for the Spurs. You can trade back and select somebody who kind of fits what you're trying to do, since you just brought on De'Aaron Fox and then Stephon Castle is the Rookie of the Year. So I think it makes sense for both teams. And if I'm Dylan Harper, I'm like, please get me to, Philadelphia, because there's more of an opportunity to have the ball in his hands, especially with Embiid probably playing 45 games max next season.
Yeah. One, and we can make this another podcast episode. I absolutely hate the term pure point guard.
Oh, me
What is
too.
a
We can start
pure?
on that right now. Like,
I mean, yeah, we'll
real
have
quick,
to
real quick,
dedicate
bro.
this.
And Magic Johnson said it yesterday on, I think he was on First Take, talking about Tyrese Halliburton. And even with Magic Johnson, when it was time to score the ball, he scored the ball. Like, you got to get 40, go get 40. If it takes getting 12 assists, get 12 assists, but you have to be a threat to score. I don't want my point guard coming down the court, passing the guys who aren't as good as him and deferring to them because of a title. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I was just looking up some numbers a few weeks ago, and Avery Johnson was a starting point guard on a finals team. People think of him as a pure point guard. They called him the general. My man shot 14% from three for his career. And I'm like, is he a pure point guard because he couldn't get buckets?
I mean,
does that make it pure? But let's just get to the rumors. We can do, I mean, we got some time. We got a couple weeks to talk about these outdated position titles that came out in 1898 when James Naismith invented basketball. So, but I want to talk about the Spurs and Sixers, right? So I can imagine someone is listening to this and saying, well, what's the difference? And I'm going to ask you, but someone says, what's the difference between Castle, which is Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, and Dylan Harper? What's the difference between those three and Tyrese Maxey, Dylan Harper, and Jared McCain? Why do you think Philadelphia is the better fit?
Well, I think Jared McCain I don't think he's a starter full time. And also, Jared McCain was 6'3" and some change. Tyrese is 6'3" and some change. Right. And Harper is bigger than the both of them. So you get a bigger version. And while, Jared McCain has definitely made me a believer, even the sample size of what he played, yet not his fault, he got hurt, it still remains to be seen. And you got to think like that timeline for the 76ers is weird because, they got big money into the old guys and they need to still develop some young guys. I think you need the 3-guard rotation anyway. But the biggest difference is that Stephon Castle, as big as a fan of him as I am, catching and shooting is a concern. As big as a De'Aaron Fox fan as of a Fox fan that I am of his, like catching and shooting is still a concern. And then Dylan Harper didn't shoot the ball well from three. So now you got three.
He shot the ball well off the catch, though.
Off the catch.
Yes.
He shot the ball off the catch, right? But okay, so if he comes in and shoots 33% next year, from three, then what do you have? Three, not non-shooters, but you got three really streaky guys, whereas we know Jared McCain can shoot. I think Tyrese, he shot the ball poorly this year, but a lot of that was because they were out there trotting out not good roster, but he's a better shooter than he was last year. I feel like the shooting in the backcourt for Philadelphia is better than it is in San Antonio.
Yeah, I agree. I actually like the fit of Dylan Harper in Philly. It gives them another downhill driver. It gives them more size in the backcourt. It allows Tyrese. So I'm a big Tyrese Maxey fan. And I think sometimes people put him in the box as not a point guard, but more so as like the classic combo tweener. But I think if Tyrese is your secondary playmaker, I think that's a good situation from him. And maybe Tyrese is a better playmaker than Harper, but I think it gives them more size and more downhill slashing. And the way I look at it is if Harper is attacking downhill, Tyrese can make shots off the catch. McCain can make shots off the catch. Paul George can shoot off the catch. So I just like that fit. All right, but here's a funny one for you. All right, let's say the rumors that are true. You've heard the Durant to San Antonio rumors. Let's say it's a situation where you go Durant for Harrison Barnes, Vassell, and pick 14. And then the Sixers select Dylan Harper at 2. Who are you taking at 3 if you're the San Antonio Spurs?
So I'm going to dodge that question in a sense that I'm going to entertain 3 people. I'm going to entertain Trey Johnson for the shooting. I'm going to entertain Ace Bailey for the size and potential shooting. And also I'm going to entertain Khaman Maluach at the 5 and just say, you know what, we're going to be really, really big. But at the same time, I don't think I want KD defending threes at 37, 38 years old. So maybe not Maluach. But those are the three guys that I'm thinking about with that third pick. And if you bring in KD, ultimately you're thinking we're championship because as great as he is in his advanced age, there's a window. So if you're doing that, you got to bring in somebody who can help right away. And I like Trey Johnson. Obviously, definitely going to be able to score. Will he be able to defend right away next to KD and Wemby? That would be my concern with that. Will Ace Bailey be able to lock in on defense because he has the tools to right away to play next to KD and Wemby? And then Maluach, again, do you want KD playing and defending threes? But does it matter if you got those kind of guys behind him? If you have Maluach and Wemby, I don't know. So those are the three guys I would look at. Maybe even VJ Edgecombe if you believe his on-the-ball defense is good enough. So four.
I'm just envisioning a lineup, and this is pure speculation. There's a lot of things that need to happen for this to be in place, but I'm thinking of a lineup where if you got Trey Johnson on the wing, Kevin Durant on another wing, and you run a pick and roll for Wemby. For one, you can throw it to the moon and he's going to get it. Fox's downhill rim pressure with that type of floor spacing, I think that would be a pretty fun lineup to watch. But let's talk about Ace Bailey when we return, because Ace Bailey's name has come up in rumors. All right, let's talk about James's favorite soda, Olipop. Olipop is a new kind of soda. It is made for people who love the classic taste of soda, but want something that supports their health with just 2 to 5 grams of sugar and 9 grams of prebiotic fiber in every can. Olipop is reimagining soda in a way that's better for your gut. You know what? I'm from the Midwest. I call it pop. You may call it soda. Or maybe if you're from New Orleans, you call it a cold drink. But anyway, that's a whole different subject. And traditional sodas or pops are loaded with sugar, like 39 grams in a regular Coke or 44 grams in an orange Fanta. And Olipop flips the script with just a fraction of the sugar. You have to check out Olipop, and you can get a free can of Olipop. All you have to do is just buy 2 cans in any store, and they will reimburse you for one. So head to drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA to claim your free can and find Olipop near you. That is Drink Olipop, OLIPOP. Drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, let's talk about Ace Bailey. So we have another rumor to report, and this comes from our guy, Kevin O'Connor. Shout out to KOC. KOC gave a couple of brothers from Omaha, Nebraska, an opportunity to talk hoops on Yahoo. So definitely appreciative for that. But KOC is reporting that the Pelicans are reportedly aggressively trying to move up in the draft, and Ace Bailey is a potential target. What do you think about that? And if you're the Pelicans, why would you be so enamored with Ace Bailey that you want to move up?
I don't understand. Not because of Ace Bailey. I don't understand wanting to move up from the Pelicans for Ace Bailey. You got Trey Murphy. I always want to call him Troy. You got Trey Murphy on a great deal. $25 million. He's going to shoot nearly 40% from three. He averaged 21 last year. And he's only 25. 25 is not old. He's a proven commodity in this league. Range. I'm a big Trey Murphy fan. Athletic, and he emerged as somebody who can put the ball on the ground. So with that being said, I don't understand why you would want to bring in Ace Bailey unless you're trying to just go really, really big. But at the same time, like, you still have Herb Jones on the roster. If I were New Orleans and I were trying to move up to, was it 3? I would be trying to target maybe Jeremiah Fears because you have a need at point guard. DeJounte Murray's out for the season with an Achilles injury. CJ McCollum is older and probably could fetch you something at the deadline. So that's the move that I would try to make. Again, not a knock on Ace. I get it. But if I were New Orleans, I just wouldn't be trying to do that. You already have 6'8" on the wing alongside with Zion. Like, I think that their biggest need is at point guard.
If I'm the Pelicans, I'm I'm intrigued by Ace Bailey. One, Trey. Man, I want
I'm
to call him
trying to tell
Trey.
you, man, it's tricky.
Trey Murphy was what, the 21st pick, something like that,
Something like that.
a few years back. Good positional size, a shooter, averaged like 5 points a game as a rookie, 20 points a game this year. And maybe I'm just putting myself in the Pelicans brain trust mindset here. Our developmental staff turned Trey Murphy, man, turned Trey Murphy, because Troy, the guy from Notre Dame that went to
Troy was a bucket. I believe he was averaging like 10.0 rebounds per game for Golden State one year, and he had like some kind of contract in his some clause in his contract. If he averaged less than 10 rebounds, I think he like set out like the last like X amount of games to make sure he got paid.
Get that money, Troy.
Hey.
But Trey Murphy averaged about 5 points a game as a freshman, was a 20-point per game scorer, not as a freshman, as a rookie. I'm all thrown off here. This is why
we gotta figure out what Trey's real name is. Hold on, man. We
this is why it is hard
or something.
Yeah. But this is why it is hard to duplicate an episode that's already been done. Trey Murphy averaged 5 points per game as a rookie, 20 points per game last year. Maybe if you're the Pelicans, you say, hey, our developmental staff helped develop Trey into what he is. Maybe we can do it again. We have another version, a younger version. And if we can turn Trey to a 20-point per game scorer, maybe we can turn Ace into a 25-point per game scorer. We'll have two big wings that can shoot. And if we're going to build around Zion, you're going to need shooting. You're going to need shooting. So why not surround Zion with some big wings that can knock down open shots? Then with Herb was a guy that wasn't a shooter coming out of Alabama. He ended up developing into a respectable NBA shooter. Herb played a little bit of point forward at Alabama. Zion played, whatever position Zion plays, point Zion, whatever. So maybe the Spurs are thinking we can run some lineups where we have a defender that can defend 1 through 4 and Herb. Zion can handle the ball. And if we surround them with two shooters, one a sniper in Trey Murphy and one a potential sniper in Ace Bailey, and then we got Svi Missy, we may have a lineup there. I'm not saying that Herb Jones is going to be your starting point guard, but I could see them saying, like, this could be a lineup we could run out there for a few minutes. This could be our closing lineup. So I get the intrigue of landing Ace Bailey or making a move for Ace Bailey.
I mean, when you put it that way, I guess it kind of makes sense, but you're putting, to me, a lot of stake in Zion. I mean, obviously, it hasn't worked as far as, because Zion has been in the league, this is year, 5?
I think it's 2019 draft, and he has not played a single playoff game.
And he led them to a playoff appearance before, his hammy blew out against the Lakers. But I'm just saying, like, you need a ball handler for sure. And if, Zion continues to have his injury woes, I feel like you can get not necessarily an insurance policy, but you can get your point guard of the future who maybe is able to play alongside Zion. I mean, if it works, if you got Zion at 20, whatever, and then Jeremiah Fears in a couple of years at 20, like, imagine keeping those two dudes out the paint. You already got a wall up to try to stop Zion. And then you got Trey Murphy who's going to knock down shots. You got Herb. I feel like I would lean more to the point guard position. I know theoretically being as big as possible is what you want to do, but like that is a team, especially if you come up off of CJ McCollum, like initiating the offense is going to be tough for them. Even as good as Zion is, I don't want Zion bringing the ball up the court every single trip down the court because he's a big dude. He's going to, like, look at they did this SGA last game, the Pacers. Like, the dude was gassed. Like, he's they accuse him of flopping, but a couple of times he's on the ground, like, trying to catch his breath. I think that
sometimes that flopping, like there was a play where he drove baseline, initiated the contact, fell on his back. That can wear you down.
Man, I think it happens to Embiid. I think it happens to Jalen Brunson too.
But DeJounte Murray's not done. You're like leaving him out the equation.
And the Achilles injury is a year-long injury, and then you got to factor in it's another 6 months to even get your sauce back. Like, I'm not banking on
I
him
mean,
to
I'm
come
not
back.
banking on that, but I mean, I think he's still part of their future. So, I mean, I get it. I think you don't go wrong with Fears. Fears could be available for them at number 7. If they really, really like Fears, then I guess you would move up. But I get the intrigue with Ace Bailey and why they may want to surround Zion. If Zion is in their long-term plans, if they want to surround Zion with Trey Murphy and Ace Bailey. All right, up next, we're going to talk about Khaman Maluach and Jeremiah Fears. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about VJ Edgecombe, Knueppel, and the Orlando Magic. The NBA Finals are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it is a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. And FanDuel makes it very easy to stay in the game before tip-off and even live. With player props, performance trends, same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. So if you got a read on who's heating up, so why not back it up with a same game parlay? And also, here's a big question for you. How could a $200 bonus bet add the excitement if your first $5 bet hits? And if you're new to FanDuel, like I said, it is the perfect time to sign up. Hit to FanDuel.com, place your first $5 bet, and if it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, let's talk about Khaman Maluach. Actually, before I get into Maluach, I had wrote an article on NBABigBoard.com about some information I heard from NBA assistant coach, and he said that he thinks that the Washington Wizards are going to go after Khaman Maluach at number 6. And his explanation was that Alex Sarr, that is the number 2 pick from last year's draft, doesn't want to play in the paint. He's not physical. And the Wizards are going to look to surround him with a 5 that can anchor the defense. And Maluach fits kind of what they've targeted in recent drafts. Long, athletic defenders. I've also heard people say that Jeremiah Fears could be an option for the Wizards at number 6. I get that also. Fears is a guy that's going to put rim pressure. He's going to attack the paint. Bub Carrington had a good rookie season, but he averaged like 1 free throw attempt per game. And I think Fears is the type of alpha dog that can be like your engine. So with that said, I wrote an article, and I wrote maybe it was like a sentence or two saying that the Wizards could be looking to move Jordan Poole. To me, that should not be like breaking news. Maybe 20 minutes after I posted the article, it gets aggregated on NBA Central, and it got like 1 million impressions. I had to turn off the notifications on Twitter. So
Poole family got beef with you, man.
I mean, but it's not breaking news. I was defending him because the people who don't watch basketball think he's trash. I'm like, my man averaged 20 a game and
And he
shot 38% on
shoots
9 threes a game.
and he shoots difficult threes and makes them at a high clip.
And he proved that he can play a role on a winning team. But anyway, I just think part of the reason why people are down on Poole is I just don't like the NBA media. It's easier to like post a clip of a guy making a silly turnover, taking a horrible shot, than it is a guy making a tough shot. And I just think fans don't realize how much better Jordan Poole was, or how good Jordan Poole was for the Wizards last year.
Man, I agree. And even that year from his last year in Golden State, you weren't going to play good basketball that year. Like that season was cooked once that video got leaked, man. He was playing with demons in his head, man. So, but back to the rumor. I don't like Maluach in DC with the Wizards. I don't like it. That's too many. I'd rather go with Queen. I think Queen fits exactly what you want to pair Alex Sarr with. If you say Sarr is not trying to have any action in the paint, there you go. You got Queen. I think Sarr is going to be really good, and can be really good on defense. And there you go. That covers up all of those things that people have concerns about with Derek Queen. I'm going with Queen. You say you want toughness. You want somebody who's gonna just be a leader. I saw in March Madness, Derek Queen, coach, drew up a play. Talking about a freshman, 20-year-old freshman. It doesn't matter. But hey, man, what are we drawing up? Give me the ball. He said, give me the mother effing ball. And he had a game-winning shot. He said he was from Baltimore. Like, I'm going with Queen there. I don't like Maluach there. I just think that's, I said it when the one that we didn't get to put out, but that's just too much uncooked meat for me, man. Like, Maluach is raw. Sarr is raw. I don't want that raw of a front court. I understand that puts you in position for 2026 draft, but I'd rather go with Queen.
That's fair. What about Fierce? I like the Fierce fit.
We talked about it offline. I like the Fierce fit. Again, since we got to move on from the pool experience, you should be able to fetch something. Maybe Orlando, who we are going to talk about later, says, you know what, hey, take one of these of our 2 first-round picks and some money to get Poole, because I think Poole fits what they would want to do. But Fears and Washington would work because I think Fears and Bub complement each other as far as what they want to do. If you say you have questions about Fears as a playmaker or decision maker, I should say, not a playmaker, because I believe he can make plays as a decision maker, I think Bub is going to be a really good decision maker, and he's got great size as a combo guard. So if at 6 I'm Washington, I'm like, okay, Fears, love it. Queen, love it. Maluach, I don't really love it because that's 2 bigs that you have to develop who have similar skill sets, who are extremely raw on offense. And I just don't know. Defensively, they complement each other, but on offense, like, go ahead and keep shooting those threes, and then you can't really dump the ball into Maluach unless that, Basketball Africa film turns into something else. I just don't like that fit.
I get it, though. I get it. If you can get 3+ defenders, and now you're just looking for that alpha dog, and if you call them raw and uncooked, let them slow cook, and then they get better. But then next year you might be in position, and we know, like, history has shown, especially if you're a Jazz fan or a Wizards fan or Hornets fan, like, having the worst record guarantees you nothing. But if you're in a situation where you can develop these uncooked wings,
man, they got uncooked wings, they got uncooked
bigs. Let them cook slow, and maybe that slow cooker can help you get a dog in AJ Debanza and Darren Peterson.
You can do all that and have Queen still too, though, is what I'm saying.
That's fair. He's from the area. All right. One of the rumors that I've heard is that the Charlotte Hornets at number 4 are targeting VJ Edgecombe and Knueppel, 2 guys that have probably the cleanest intel that I've seen in recent years. I mean, going back to my man, Freck Billionaire and Fabulous said, I don't even remember which person said it.
It was Fabulous.
Freck. So clean the Board of Health couldn't find dirt. That is Knueppel's intel. Do you think 4 is too high for either of those guys? I do.
I think 4 is too high for Khan. I think 4 is okay for VJ. And I'm gonna put out my latest big board, mock. I'll do it after Father's Day, after my family showers me with a day off. Probably to work. But I probably will end up going with VJ at 4. Khan is a little too high. I get what Khan does, knockdown shooter. Off the dribble. If Khan was a better off the dribble shooter, I would be like, you know what, maybe, just maybe he could be like a poor man's Klay Thompson. But, he just didn't prove to be that at Duke. And that's something you can grow into. But I can buy VJ at 4 for Charlotte. And like I've said all, draft cycle, he's the guy. I think he's the guy you put next to the guy. And if Lonzo is your guy, and LaMelo is your guy, then I think he would complement LaMelo and Brandon Miller in Charlotte.
All right. The Orlando Magic have 2 picks. We're going to have to make this 2 episodes. The Orlando Magic have 2 picks. Don't think it makes sense for them to enter the season with 2 more rookies. The last few rookies that they have, from Jet Howard to Tristan Da Silva, I feel like I'm missing one, did not play a lot. I think it's hard to crack that rotation. If I'm Orlando, I'm looking to condense my roster, and I just think Jordan Poole, like you mentioned, would be perfect for Orlando. Absolutely perfect. He doesn't need to like dominate the ball as a ball handler, but he can shoot. You put him in a situation where he's getting catch and shoot shots. I think he's going to knock those down, but he also gives you that irrational confidence bucket getter who can score when Orlando has those stretches where they just seem like they can't put the ball in the basket. What are your thoughts on that?
I like Poole there, but I also like Anthony Simons in Orlando as well. And as far as like if they just can't get the package that they want for either of the two, or let's say the asking price is too much, I think they got to offload Jonathan Isaac to make either one of those contracts work. But if they decide, forget it, we're going to go a rookie here, I would go with Jace Richardson probably at 16. And if he's available at 25, maybe. But I think he fits with what they're trying to do. I know you can say, oh man, they got Cole Anthony, that's another small guard, but I think Jace Richardson in that role on that team is perfect because you're not asking him to be a point guard. We know he can score, we know he can shoot, and he plays well off the ball. And he can essentially be, if Paolo is, LeBron-like, he can be that Daniel Gibson to Paolo's LeBron.
But you got to move Anthony.
I'm cool with that. Anthony, he's been.
I don't know if I would take him at 16. He's an analytics guy. But you know what? Let's finish this conversation because, man, we have so many more rumors to cover and also like potential trades. Like, for example, I don't think it makes sense for the Brooklyn Nets to bring in 4 rookies in the training camp. There are plenty of teams that want to move up in the late first round. You can make some deals. We got the Hawks. They have 2 picks. They may be looking to move up. So stay tuned for the next episode where we're going to dig a little bit deeper into these draft rumors and potential trades. Once again, thank you for making this your first listen of the day. We are out of here.